In our last video, we set up a registration login system and created a couple of users. Just created some random junk messages just to demonstrate that when we log in, we're still seeing everyone's messages, and it's not really what we want. So that's going to be our next step. So if I log in here, I have these messages, right? Now what I'm going to do is made a account for you guys, YouTube viewer. I log in again. And I submit that. I still get all these messages. So if you look here in our dashboard, we go to our message entity. We created a attribute, a for attribute. So we have something we could check. We're just not using it. So what I'm going to do is here where it's hard coded for Ryan, I want to change this to this dot state current user, and so this is initially null, but when we log in, we set our current user to the, let me check. Oh, right now it's set to data.id. I want to use the username for this because it's more user friendly. So here we want to change this to username. So when we log in, we get this call, or register, we get this callback of so we basically submit a login and password, and we get back the username. It's like a confirmation from the server that we're that user. So I'm going to use that username, and when we log in, we set that to our local state, and then what we want to do instead of so right here we use component did mount, and this isn't going to work because everything is in one component, so the whole thing, the component mounts before we log in. So we have that modal. So for example, let me try it just to show you why it won't work. See, there's no messages, and if I log in, no messages because this was already called. So maybe in another application you might have the login and the messages as two separate screens, and then there you could call it there, but you can't do that. What I'm going to do is say component did update, and we don't want to get caught in like an infinite loop, because think about it, we're going to fetch these messages and store them. So our component update again is just going to call it and get the message again, update. We'll get caught in like an infinite loop, and we'll everything will crash. So what we're going to do is say if try to think how I want to do this. I'm going to say if current user is not null. Then we're just going to return out of here. If current user is not null, yeah, so it should only be called at login. I think that should work for current user. and let's catch any errors just in case. Okay, this looks good. So let's try it out. Okay, hold on. So you see here, this component update is being called a million times because we're storing our input in one of these local states, so it keeps updating. So let's end this. I'm just going to get past here quick. I'll try to. I don't know if it'll work. Alright, I don't know if you guys can hear, my fans are going crazy. That's what I was trying to prevent. So component did updates called anytime any of our state updates. So you see here, this warning was created 650 times. Yeah, so that's what we were trying to avoid. That's why I added this check, but I forgot that we're storing our login in local state. So let me just think for a second. You know, what we could do is add this all to the login method. Just trying to think for a second. Yeah, let's do that. What you can also do is what's called a user ref, and basically we would, or uncontrolled input, and what you can do here is you can store all that not in state. So I don't really want to get into that right now though. So we're just going to return. And then right here we use data.username for the current user. I'm going to use that and not reference the state one, just because we're receiving it right here. We can use it in that same function. Alright, I'm going to try this. Oh, we probably want to have another thin block. And I'll just scroll over so you guys can see. So similar to what we did up here, we want to continue the promise chain. So we use return. This also resolves the promise. So probably want to just call one set state call in the end. Let's just see what this returns, and we'll go from there. Oops. Alright, sorry about that. Just forgot the period there. So look, we have our messages here. So right here it says for Ryan, right, from that message. And we can only get that because we pass in for who's logged in. So I'm just going to move this whole block just to make it a little more terse, and just have one set state at the end. This is a pretty, I guess, complex example here because we're chaining 3 promises in a row. So it's a good way to handle asynchronous things like this. So what I want to do here, instead of data.username, because now we have this data, I want to say data. So this is our data right here. So data.1.0 .4. So sorry. So the first message and who it's for is our current user. Again, we already have that up here, but I'm just to be terse, just calling one set state. And then messages, it's going to be all the data. Let's try that. And now let's reload and see if this updates. Alright, that's what we wanted. Just to try another example, the login is YouTube viewer, and I don't remember, there might be like one message or none, but definitely not like 10 like we just had. Private 4 of undefined. Oh, so there's no messages, so that's a dumb idea. So I didn't deal with the new users, so I'll try something quick. Let's see if I can still call data from this block. I don't think I can, but let's just try. So basically, the shortcut I was trying to use, I didn't take it into account that the user might have no messages. So right now we want to see if this comes through or it's just null. Date is not defined. Yeah, it doesn't work. So we will just have to be not as clever. Alright. So should be able to log in and get my messages, and then YouTube viewer should be able to log in and see no messages and not get that error. So that's good. Going extra slow today, it seems. Alright, so that fixes that. And so here, if I create this message, I see it again. We're going to have to add some text inputs, but okay, so we're pushing this to our own queue. So that's one thing we have to fix later. So if I log in again, this won't be there. But right now we're storing it locally when we create it. So right now it's for Ryan. We're getting it. So if I refresh, and now I fetch all messages, that's not going to show up. Oh, I mean it shows up here. So, but it shouldn't show up for a YouTube viewer who we were just in. Alright, so that's good. And so pretend we're creating a message here. Here, this from, this should also be referencing the current user. So we were already logged in, so we want that assigned dynamically. So if I refresh that, and I log in as YouTube viewer, again, no messages because we're fetching all messages for us. I create this. This shouldn't be in here again, but we need to adjust our add message logic. But if I go into our console and go to messages, from me. So that was dynamically assigned by the logged in user. So just to scroll over in case you guys can't see, when we create the message, we give it a for attribute is who we want it to. There's also the from attribute, and that is going to be dynamically assigned based on who's logged in. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Now what we want to do is be able to message different people and also put some actual text in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little like kind of pop-up over here when you hit this create message button. So I'm going to put that all in add message, and then I'm going to pass back all the state and the actual logic to create the messages back here to our add message piece. So ultimately, we don't be adding messages to ourselves. We're trying to send them to other people. So if I go in here, we're gonna have to import view text input, and right now this is the whole view here. So we need to give it like a parent container. Otherwise, everything's just going to be inside that button, which we don't want. Alright, so we're going to have some text like a label here saying for, and here will be the actual input, and then we're going to need another one for the actual message. So I hope you guys can kind of see what I did here. So I knew that we needed a parent component to store all of this. It's going to be one component, and then just logically, like here we have our button, and then this other view is going to have our inputs, and then in there we're going to need two more views to kind of group the label and the actual input. So I hope it kind of makes sense logically, just because you know, after a while you guys will get used to knowing, you know, when to add parent views and stuff, just because, you know, I could throw a style in here, throw a style in here. These will probably have the same styles. And this will have like a parent style. So just to kind of, so we can see, I'm going to give this whole thing a background color of red. I do that sometimes just to kind of see where we're at and then we can plan from there. I forgot to import text. So you can already see down here that that's working, so that's good. So we want to be able to toggle this. So what I'm going to do is give a constructor and I'm going to say show inputs. So we want this to be false when we first start. We don't want to see this. And then I'm going to conditionally render this whole section. So cut. And I'm just going to do a JSX ternary operator. So it's basically the same as like an if-else, just a little more terse. And so it checks this. It's always going to be true or false. If it's true, we'll render our inputs. And if it's false, we'll just render null, nothing. And then we want to give a, well, let's see if this works. So when I refresh, this should be gone. It's working. Yep, now it's gone. Say that we, in our constructor, set to true. It's back. Let's change, let's give a this here, our add message button. Instead of adding a message, it's now going to okay, now we're just going to toggle a local function. Let me say this toggle. So what I'm going to do over here is make the function. And what we want to do is set state to be the opposite of what it is now. So we're going to use the exclamation point. We'll just basically reverse our current state. Alright, let's see if this works. So it's not showing up, which is good. Alright, so it's working. So that's pretty good. Now let's get these inputs set up so we can create some messages. Okay, sorry about that. Try to take a quick break. I don't think I jumped back to the same page in my editor. I think we're on add message. So what we want to do here with these inputs is we were going to do the exact same thing we did in messages. So it's going to take an onChange text function, and then we got to give something to do. And then similarly to here, we're going to just create these blank placeholders for now. Just trying to decide if I want to store the all the message information in the messages with the add message container, and I think I'm just going to leave it in add message, but when we actually create the message, that we're going to call from here. So like best practice would be this should be a stateless functional component, and we don't need state and have all our state in the messages, but I think for the tutorial purposes, just setting up locally will be fine. So I'm going to actually just take this here, and we're just going to call this message. And it's going to have a for and text. Let's call this message updated. These are all variables, so you don't have to change them, but this is what's important. I'm going to copy the current message. And then we set the message equal to new message. And down here, we need to call this. So it's going to take text this dot forgot what I called this. Text is going to be text, and then our key for this one is going to be 4. Let's see if I did that right. This dot. Alright, that should be good. Gonna copy this, paste this here. Then we just gotta change our key here to message. Again, these keys, oh sorry, text actually, match these 4 and text. And then what I want to do is I'm going to set this to true just for a second, and here I want to alert our message to see if it's working. So let's log in. Put in some text, and so we want to see an alert with this. That means it's set up right. If not, there's a problem. But there we go. We have our text, and that disappeared. So see how we kind of submitted that and then that disappeared? It's kind of what we want to do. Just need to add a little more. It's like the first, oh now it's alerting every time. But we kind of want to make like a flow so that, you know, when the first time this opens, then maybe this could change or something, and then we can hit it again to submit. So, and it should disappear. And these should be empty for when you want to make a new message. So I want to get a new icon for this, like a send button or something. So we're going to go to that site we used last time. It's fine. Let's see if I can change this to white. Yep, that should be good. So just because I want to use best practices, I'm going to compress the image, compressor.io. Re-download it. And then copy that, go to our assets, images, paste it in, and I'll call it send icon. Send icon. And we want to add it to our config file, don't forget. So now in here, we already have that config, so we can just call, let's just make sure it is there. So I'm going to find the old image. And I have a feeling that the app may have crashed importing the new asset, but we'll find out in a second. Oh, no, it's right there. So that works. Doesn't really look great, but And that's good enough for now. I'm not going to go crazy. Again, I can see it right here through the modal. But right here, what we want to do is change what our image is based on the current status. So I'm going to call this button type, and then up here we're going to do another ternary operator. Say, I'm going to get a const button type, and we're going to base that on the current state. So if show inputs is true, we want that to be the envelope, else we want it to be the plus sign. So else and I'll put this back to false. And now let's log in and give that a try. Clearly not working. Oh, this alert is throwing us off. See how it changes? So add a message, type your message, and then you can send it and it disappears. So let's try that. Oh, and luckily these inputs clear for us by themselves when they disappear, which is nice. So I guess the only thing to do is actually send this somewhere. So let's So I think what we're going to do in here is we're going to say for the toggle, we're going to say if they're when you press this and they're visible, send the message. If not, just toggle. So if this is already open, we're going to call send message, and we're going to pass in that message object. Now we don't have a send message function, so we're going to have to bind that from the messages container. And the reason we don't do it here is because the messages container is responsible for all messages, etc. And it's a little confusing because these are our from messages. This is being sent, so it really could. That's a fair point. Because the message we send here isn't going to show up in this list, so we can call it from here, that's fine. But let's pretend we had a list called, let's pretend this was a list of send messages, then we would want it in that parent container. But as of now, being these are pretty much unrelated, I'm just going to make this kind of the container component. Now we can either pass this in here, or this can just reference the state. And we're going to have to import Turbo. I always forget the import syntax. Turbo from Turbo 360. it's going to be this same add message here. And we don't really want this anymore because yeah, we don't want to call this out here. That was when we were just creating these in the list. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this property down here. So we could have just used that function, but again, I'm trying to separate the sending the messages from this is kind of new messages. So they should be a little different. They're technically two different objects. Not objects, kind of two different concerns of our application if you think about it. Creating a message and reading a message really are unrelated. Alright, let's just make sure this looks okay. Oh, here's the problem. The outside knows about current user. So let me just think for a second. This is when Redux is good. If we had Redux, we could just reference current user from anywhere. Now we're going to have to pass that into here so that we can use it, which is, as you can see, getting kind of messy. So here, where it's this.state.current user, we don't have that, so we need to pass this in as a property. This is actually good because you can start to see why Redux is so useful. Basically, we'd be able to reference this stuff globally from anywhere. So now, to get our current user, I need to go back here and say current user equals this.state. So you see how kind of messy this is to pass this stuff around. Okay. I'm going to do this so you guys can see. For is now going to be this.state.message.for, and then this is going to be the message. Let me just wrap this line so you guys can see. Is that it? Yeah, okay, cool. So again, this is all one line, just the word wrap right there. So I'm not going to do this. What do I want to do with the message? I'm just going to give an alert saying sent successfully. But we don't want to render that in our inbox. So this is a confirmation from the server letting the user know their message was sent successfully. And if not, it's going to alert error. I want to get rid of this ID. That was just something we were using a while ago. Okay, so go back to my account. So I'm going to create a message for user doesn't exist yet, but the way it's set up, it should be fine. Message sent successfully. And how do we know that? Let's check our console. So if we go to the message entity for dad, and now when he logs in, or whoever claims that account, they should see a message. But just to try some more, do one for YouTube viewer. Send successfully. Do another one for YouTube viewer. And then let's log into some of these accounts. So this one hasn't been claimed yet, but I know the way the system is set up, it's going to search for messages for that username. So look, there it is, the one we just created. And he could send one back to us. This thing is driving me crazy. And then I'm going to do one more here. Sorry, log in as YouTube viewer. I have all these messages, and I'll send one back. And then if I go back to my account, here they are, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So next we're going to work on deleting them when we click them, and adding images, but that's it for this video. I'll just highlight this code again in case you didn't catch that, but yeah, see you in the next video.